Hello there, beautiful souls of planet Earth. Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is and will always be Olive Orawo. I know I have not been here for a minute. Actually, it is just a week, but I think because I was moving around a lot, I traveled to see my family. I just feel like it has been a long while, but we had an episode last week and I hope you enjoyed that as well. Before we get into the gist of this episode, which is all things careers, I'd like to remind you that there are partnership opportunities on this podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, you can have the option of product placement. If you are listening in from any other platform, you can have mentions on this podcast. You can sponsor an episode or a season, or you can have an advertisement run on this podcast. I'll be more than happy to partner with you. But let's get straight into what this podcast episode was about. I asked you on my socials, and I will remind you, just keep checking my socials every Thursday. I will post out a prompt. Then you can contribute with your experiences as to what we are going through generally. This podcast is just about what are we going through. And I have topical questions every week that then you send in your contributions and then we talk about them here. The experiences have been magnificent so far, and I am because you are, and I am so happy and I am so grateful for all the support that you have offered me. But yes, let's get into the episode. So I asked on my socials last week, where are you in your career spectrum and how did you get there? And I will remind you again, if you'd like to see the responses that were there in the comments, please follow me on all my socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I go by Olive Orawo. And my contacts are also at the bottom of the screen in case you want to contact me for business or you'd like to send in your contributions. So anyway, I asked you that and I always get responses directly through my prompt. Those are the ones that I read here and I'll start with them immediately with my commentaries. So responses I got, where are you in your career spectrum and how did you get there? Number one, trying to figure it out. It's just not figuring. This, liked by 100 other people, in fact, make it 1,000,000 other people, is careers. I don't know who came up with careers because I feel like I've been through so much, but I still don't know. I still can't tell you what my career is. Anyway, we'll get to the details of it. Someone else says, I had everything figured out, then realized it was not my plan. It was my family's. That was 2020. So the person who sent this sent me a full email with the entire tea, and I'll read it for you a little later. And then we'll get to discuss it then. Someone else says, I am a kids football and fitness coach for close to 5 years now. Worked as I studied, employed now. That is very, very beautiful. I feel like your career was progressing and you had set what you wanted to do, or rather, it's very streamlined for you. You know what it is. You've been here for a while. You already have the experience. But when I read this, I was just like, how do people land some careers? How do people land in some jobs? Because I don't think I've ever thought of kids having training in fitness or in sports generally. I don't know. We just see Kipchoge running. We just see Wanyama going to play football. But I think in my head, I've never thought, wait a minute, they must have a coach. There's someone who trains them when they're young, right? Yeah, I've never thought about it. But then this conversation was really eye-opening to me. Someone else says, hello, Olive. Future Mama Olive here. Hello, I can't wait for my fellow Olive to come. Future Mama Olive here. I work as a restaurant supervisor and it hasn't been easy. The hospitality industry is rigid, demanding, and underpaying. To grow demands, you need to be hungry and creative. I will say this as a matter of factly. I cannot wish upon anyone the hospitality industry in Kenya. You literally break your back doing jobs and shifts that are longer than 16 hours. and the pay is so demeaning. The working environment is so degrading. These are the people who basically serve us and take care of us when we're going for vacations and staycations around everywhere. These are the people responsible for serving us food when we want to eat. These are the people responsible for giving us our spa treatments and all that. Yet they, like, the life they live because of the job they do in Kenya specifically, it is honestly disgusting. And I'm saying Kenya because I know of someone who's tried looking for opportunities in Kenya and in Australia. And in Australia, it's a very good industry to work in. Once you put your foot inside, you're good. The payout is, it's not as, I wouldn't say it's amazing, but at least it does match the amount of work that you do. So I am really sorry for the experiences you're having and everyone else who is in the hospitality industry. And let's not even start talking about the insecurity that women have to face working in that industry. Story for another day. Anyway, someone else said, as confused as they come, I'm thinking of switching to nursing. Health records is not working. So you're currently in health records, you're thinking of switching to nursing. I think what we don't realize is that in careers, or rather when you're working, you will never have a certain answer. You'll never be truly sure that this is what I want. Even if you achieve something that you wanted so much, there'll always be something else that now we need to work towards. This thing, human needs are insatiable. This thing that you've achieved right now won't always serve you forever. And I'm hoping that you break into whatever dream that is that you're wishing for. I hope nursing works out for you, and I can't wait for your success story. Someone else says, survival, is that an option? Yes, it is very much an option. In Kenya, jobs are a menace. I have mentioned this to a couple of people who've reached out to me looking for job opportunities. I will tell you, this year specifically, 2023, is a horrible year in corporate and employment. Opportunities are so limited. Employers, everyone, not even employers, everyone, businesses, whatever, because of the high cost of living, everyone is hoarding money and trying to re-strategize and trying to see what to do and what to prioritize. And 3, due to all these things, their con has really risen. Like the number of con situations, the number of people, con has evolved in ways that we can't even think about. So this year specifically, I'm telling you, it's not only you who's going through it. Employment is shit. People looking for businesses is shit. Salespeople trying to sell is, everything is horrible right now. So that I will tell you, but I just keep hoping that it gets better. And survival, honestly, we've all been there. You've all been where you are just working so that you can pay rent. You are just working so that you can cover the bills. And it is quite an option, a very, very common option, if I may say so. So you are not alone, but I am wishing you all the best in everything you're pursuing. I hope it gets better. Someone else says, shifting and changing to tech. This year, periods, relearning, taking courses. Okay. This year, there's relearning, taking courses, looking for remote jobs. I hope it works. Okay, so you are changing to tech. A lot of people have actually done this shift where they've changed to tech and then you're taking up these online courses. It's become very common in the past few probably months, weeks. Everyone is looking for virtual assistant jobs, jobs in software engineering, and of course, remote jobs that are coming in from outside the country. These jobs are very much available, but it seems like you'll have to find your way through it. You'll have to find your footing in there. I wish you all the best. I know a lot of people who are trying for this. If you have any information that could help someone else, please share so that we can all have the information and everyone just thrives. When the person next to you is thriving, it's easier for you to thrive as well. I think that's what I feel, but a lot of times people want to thrive by themselves and everyone around them is just not up there with them. I usually feel like it's so awkward because then you create some sort of reliance or dependence on you. Let everyone around you thrive so that all of you are in a comfortable space and everyone can mind their own business. Someone else says, nowhere near what I studied for. Connections muhimu. Okay, so you are nowhere near what you studied for. I'd also like to say that this is very common. And I remember when I was in campus, there's a time my dad told me, I don't know where he got this insight, but there's a time my dad told me, a degree is just a degree. We're just trying to get you to get a degree. That's all. Because the employment industry just wants a degree. You know, they write there, we want someone with an undergraduate degree. That is the qualification. Most of the time, people don't even care what this degree is about. The degree was just held at a certain pedestal, and so you needed to have it. So a lot of times, people have veered away from what they studied, but also you need to take time and think, did you study this thing because you're interested in it? Is this something you still want to pursue? Can you use your degree? Are you willing to set your degree aside and see where the money is gonna come from, and if the passion is gonna come from there? As I've mentioned before, nothing is certain. No one has answers. We're all trying to figure it out. Even if I tell you right now, I'm the greatest podcaster of all time, and you're trying to be a podcaster, I can share insights, I can mentor, I can try and give you information here and there, but I cannot promise you, it is not given that you will also follow the exact same path as me. You will also be the greatest podcaster of all time. I don't know, you might go into managing podcasts. I don't know, you might go into something else that is related, but not exactly what I am. So at the end of the day, we just never know. Hey, someone else says, I've always wanted to be a medic my entire life. Guess who is joining the military? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? The military is also a good place, but gosh, I would like to know, this is interesting. Are you going into the military to still pursue medicine? Because I know the military basically usually has its own nurses and doctors. I was even surprised to know that even a therapist who goes in, if you want to be a therapist for the military, you have to go through that training they're going through. There's no exceptions. So you go through the training and then inside you specialize. So I'd like to know if you're going in specialized in anything medicine, or you're just going in as part of the military, and what arm of the military are you joining? Someone else says, I always loved tech since I was very young, and now I'm a software engineer and I love it. Let me tell you, there's people who are gambling, and then there's these people who liked tech from the beginning, and we didn't know why they were so obsessed with this tech. And right now, guess who's bagging these bags? Guess who's bagging these bags in the year of 2023 on Beyonce's internet? Yes, and I am happy. I am so happy to see it. And I was actually arguing with someone the other day, and I don't know, they're still in the old mindset where they feel like this money that people are getting these days, since it's not the kind of money where you go to work, you report to a place at 8 and leave at 5 and have a 1-hour lunch break, they feel because you're seated somewhere with a laptop that it's not legit money. It is. It is. I'm sorry that jobs have evolved. I'm sorry that job spaces have evolved. And I'm really, really happy to see that someone actually wanted something when they were young and they've lived to see it. But I will also tell you, it might not serve you for very long. Humans are humans. You'll get to a point you'll be like, maybe I want to explore something else. It might happen. There are people who actually hold on to something for years over. There are people who also get somewhere and they're just like, maybe I want to try something else. But right now, I'm super happy for you. Someone else says, a 26-year-old me finishing masters this month has no idea what I'm doing. I hate it here. You'll be surprised how common this is. You'll be so surprised, because I remember even when I finished my degree, my parents are obsessed with school. So they wanted all of us to take up our masters. My sisters did take up her masters. I think my youngest sister will also take up masters. She's very scholarly. And there was this thing where it got to a point where we're told now everyone has degrees. Now people need to do masters for you to get better job opportunities. And this is possible if you are in the career sphere where a higher where a higher level of learning actually guarantees you better opportunities in your space. So I don't know if that's the case. And I will tell you for a fact, there's so many people who are just doing their masters, doing whatever the other learning and knowledge that they can add to their credentials, but you just don't know where this is going to head. You leave it to fate and you just trust the process. Whatever comes. Whatever you decide to take up to make your money, that works. So don't feel like you're alone. It is something that happens with quite a number of people. And even as we go on with this, even as we go on with some of the responses that I got, you'll get to understand that it is life. So this is life. Someone else says, voice note loading in the evening. I have waited for this voice note. I have waited. Now I'm recording this podcast. I have waited for your voice note. Someone else says, agricultural extensionist or social worker. Mimi nilijipea tu. Okay, mimi nilijipata tu looking to shift careers to clinical meds. Please share answers kwa hii. Would love to hear more of this. Oh yeah, still unemployed. So I guess you studied agricultural extensionist and social work. I don't know what extensionist is. I know what agricultural is, but anyway. And then you just found yourself there in social work. But that's what you studied for, but you'd like to shift careers to clinical med, and you're still unemployed. So you're telling me to share these responses you'd like to know. I'm assuming you only see my socials. You don't come and listen or watch the podcast. So makosa ni yangu. I will share the link with you so that you come and listen. And I'll also put timestamps on the podcast on YouTube mostly so that you know where to start from. If you just want to listen to the responses, then you get to the responses and start listening to what other people sent. I hope that will be of help. And someone else says, corporate babe, but it's way speed per second. I always feel like crying when the week starts. Trust me, I record these podcasts on Sunday, and it's the only thing that maintains my sanity, because before, when I didn't have this, like something to work on Sunday evening, it was just pure anxiety until Monday. And not to get me wrong, I actually love my job and I love what I do, but corporate. Yeah. I wouldn't say I like corporate as much. I feel like corporate is based on the capitalist system that is very exploitative of people. So I don't necessarily like corporate, but corporate has favored me all my life. I've basically been in corporate, and that's how I've been able to take care of my bills. But generally, I don't think I want to be a corporate buddy. I'm just like, I'm here to do, I'm here to do what I can do because this is where the opportunities are. But I don't think I want to grow in the ranks. I don't think I want to see myself as CEO of a company that already exists. If we can be CEO of Olevera, sawa, good. But just like trying to climb up the ranks of already set companies, I don't see myself doing that. I just see myself serving in whatever ways I can in these companies. Like right now, I'm the podcast manager for the company that I work for. I'll give in all I have. I'll do whatever I can. My skill, my experience, I'll give it in. And this is what I have to offer. But I'm not looking to be, I'm not looking to be the CFO, CEO. I'm just fine where I am. Where it involves creative processes, that's where I'm willing to work with corporates. That was my last response directly to the prompt, but I'll give you longer ones that came in through the DMs. Let me see. Okay, let me start with this one. Hey girl, you bring so much light into my life with these podcasts. Don't I love it? I've officially named you my therapist 2023. Kisses. Thank you very much. You are using me for therapy. Here is the number. Where is that number? On the screen. Send monies, send M-Pesa now. So you say, professionally, I studied drama and theater. I'm only practicing it as a side hustle though, because I was lucky to land a good job with an international organization just before my graduation in 2016. And that is where I am up to date. Though I'd very much like to further my studies and become a lecturer someday. My organization does charity work in Vihiga, and I love my job because I get to uniquely touch other people's lives. So this DM really warmed my heart because I've always felt like people who get personal fulfillment from the jobs they do for money, I feel like are the luckiest people ever. Like if you go and you change lives, and that's basically what you do daily, I feel like it's so fulfilling. It's so beautiful. And I'm so happy for you. I genuinely am happy for you. And yours has been stable. You got this job before you graduated. You graduated school 2016 up until now. Guy, I am old. We graduated same year. Or probably I graduated a year before you, 2015. But anyway, another response I got says, "Hi, Olive. For this case, let me be Briella." Hey, Briella. I love that name. I'm 27 years old, graduated 5 years ago. I am in pharma sales, so more of a corporate body. I enjoy my work. However, immediately after graduating, I joined the bank for a year and then left to join pharma industry. And honestly, I feel like it is where I lost track. Joining the bank was a bad idea. 5 years later, my classmates who joined pharma immediately are way ahead in terms of salary and growth. In terms of where I am now, corporate is it's degrading. I guess she meant degrading. Corporate is degrading to me in terms of money. But let me tell you, Maina, for the last 4 years, I have been working 13 to 14 hours a day and mostly have to carry work home and work over weekends. Ooh, my work-life balance is non-existent. The pressure to achieve mostly unrealistic targets is also unmatched. I have sought therapy twice. I am happy and surviving, but always thinking, where would I be if I joined immediately? But I remember there are many of my age who are not where I am. I am driving and at least in the process of repaying a loan of a newly acquired piece of land. Given a chance, I would prefer it otherwise, but all in all, so grateful for my milestones. First of all, baby girl, see, you're making moves. See, you're moving mad. You are moving mad. Congratulations on your piece of land and your car. You're doing so well for yourself so far. But I do understand the regret that you might have when people who, like, you feel made better choices than you are ahead of you in the game. But I like that even as much as you acknowledge that there's a mistake you might have done somewhere and that has backtracked you a little, you're still very grateful in the space that you are. You're still very mindful of, I have made milestones, I have achieved. I'm not where I want to be, but here where I am, I've also worked and I'm so grateful for what I have. And I love that about the spirit in you, Briella. So, let me tell you about this, my experience with this. So once I finished my degree, I started like trying to get into the media. I was so passionate about like doing creative things in the media entertainment industry, right? Because those things come easy to me. I love doing them. But then I felt like people who didn't waste 4 years in campus studying whatever, because we know our public school system is a joke, guys. It is a serious joke. By the time you leave, nothing on the ground looks like anything you were told in school. So it's like starting school afresh after school. So why I was so mad for a very long time, I felt like people who did their diplomas, or just like went into business or did a short course here and there and just got their hands dirty already without going to without going to get their undergraduate degree were way ahead of me by the time I was coming in. I have talent. Yes, I'm diligent. Yes, I'm organized. I'm competent. I'm all these things. Yes. But I don't have the hands-on experience. And that's the person, the employer wants. That's the person clients want to work with. Someone who already knows how to do this. I don't want to get you and start training you, which is also something very problematic. Now that I'm in spaces where I can get to work with people who come in as younger people who come in, I really enjoy having to train people. I really enjoy giving people their first chance, because for me, every opportunity, it is someone who gave me my first chance. So I feel like we should also revolutionize the working space so that we normalize training people instead of taking people who are already trained. We can have people who are already trained to take up senior positions, but not that you want already trained people for entry level. I don't know. Corporate is a very weird space. It's a very, very weird space. But I do understand what you're going through, and I'm happy for you all the same. You have done so well for yourself. Congratulations. And I hope what you desire still comes to pass. It feels like you're very ambitious. What I'm worried about is that you do not have a work-life balance. And we keep telling people, if you died today, they will replace you tomorrow. You will not be paid any extra amount of money for carrying your work home, for working over the weekends. No one's going to pay you for all these things. Unless you are actually working for your own company. For me here, this podcast, it does not matter if it takes me up to past midnight to edit. At the end of the day, it's mine. But I don't expect someone to come in and help me with the podcast and expect them to work as much as I do for this product. So I would like to urge you to find a work balance. Just, even if, I know there are people who are workaholics, so even even at home when they are free, they enjoy working. But find a way in which when you're working at home, that is, if you're workaholic, you're working on something personal for you, not for this company. That I will advise you blatantly. I don't care if there's an employer who's watching and is just like, I do not like that girl for giving that advice. No. You shouldn't slave for people like that. You should slave for no one like that, not even yourself. Even when you're slaving for yourself, you need to give yourself a break. So find that work-life balance. I think I mentioned to you that you will soon experience a burnout or a blackout. A burnout is where you cannot be productive anymore because you have used it all up. Your mental, your physical, everything. You have nothing more to give. Or a blackout. I'm saying this because there are people who were also working like that. Like, you're working here, you're always looking for money. And I know experiences where someone literally blacked out in the middle of the road. Fainted. Like that. So I'm telling you, it is around the corner. You will burn out or black out. And when it happens, please text me so I can just laugh and tell you, did not tell you to get some personal time. Anyway, another person told me, I had a whole plan, got laid off from the job in 2020. I realized my dream was not mine, but my family's. Interesting. I had 2 dogs, and when I took them to the dog parks, there were always people complaining they wished someone else would exercise their dogs for them. Some just hated small talks with strangers, others are busy at work, so I created business cards and somehow became Maureen the dog walker. Now I am hating it because Texas summers are brutal. I forgot. I found myself blogging and wrote an entire ebook about dogs. I like how everything is an accident, but all leading towards dogs. Now I am about to hire people for my business and figure out what I want to do next. Zero plan. I might get a federal job or I might just start a new hustle. Honestly, necessity is the mother of invention. So here you were without a job. People don't want to walk their dogs. You were like, here is a gap. Let me fill it, like the Kenyan that you are. So now you started a dog business you actually have an entire ebook you've written. You're actually hiring people. You're saying the weather is harsh in Texas where you are, so that's why it's a bit much for you. But you really don't know where it's going. You could get a job. You could start a new hustle. I feel like you're basically my spirit animal. Me, I honestly don't know what to expect tomorrow. I'm usually just here like, I don't know if tomorrow I find myself selling books. Maybe that's where I'll just sell books until another day I find myself waking up to sell plates, and then I'll just sell plates. I feel like that is how my life is, and I felt like this was such a comic relief. It was just really nice to see, and it's honestly human. It's just how it is, and I'm glad that you've also just opened up yourself to what the possibilities might be in the future. So I like it. I like it. Maureen the dog walker. Love it. Someone else says, hey, to answer where I am in the career spectrum, first of all, I am where I think I should be in my career at my age, position-wise, but not industry-wise. I am 33 years old and I am head of HR and admin, but in a small manufacturing company. I feel I should be a HR something at a HR something at a multinational corporation. How I got here. I tarmacked for 5 years after campus with my BCom major in HRM, whilst undertaking my master's in HRM. Once I got foot in employment, it has been an upward trajectory since then. A lot of capacity building and self-development was necessary. By the end of this year, if everything goes according to plan, I'll be CHRP in brackets K. I don't know what that means, with my master's in HRM. Hey, you will have finished your master's. Then I can ask for at least 500K without blinking. Please, and thank you. And when you get to 1 million, please also call us and tell us. I'm a corporate buddy and enjoying it. It is easy. As long as I give my employer 8 hours per day, I take home a good pay. Corporate buddies. You stress me. You stress me because how are you not feeling like us? We the creatives want to do 1 hour of productivity. In fact, make it 15 minutes of productivity. And then just to zone out and brainstorm and come up with a craziest, beautiful idea and then get people to execute. You guys can diligently report to work 8 hours and just give it all you have to give and leave with your good money, which is really, really beautiful. I like that you are set in what you want. You know what you want. This is the path you've set for yourself. You even have ambitions and goals in line with the dream that you have. I also liked that the information you included, that you actually looked for a job for 5 years before actually landing into employment. And once you did, you've never backtracked at any point. You were up and upwards is all the way we are going. So I really love that for you. I hope the dreams that you have actually come true. And I think this is one of the industries, the human resource industry. I think it is one of the industries where the higher your level of education, actually, the better opportunities you get. The higher your experience, the better the opportunities you get, the better the money you get paid. I think HRs are basically responsible for protecting the company from employees and protecting the employees' welfare. And usually they are very high-stake people at a company. So I would understand how you take home a good pay. And I can't wait for you to start bagging that 500 G's, mom. $500,000 in. And that is all I got from my DMs. So next, I'm going to read one that I got on my email. So I'll consider this a letter. Hi, Olive. Hope you are good. Hi, Olive. Hope you're good and glad that you're back from home safely. I must admit, I'm a big fan and you inspire me a lot. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. I said, I am because you are. So you continue to say, so I'm 21 years old, did my Form 4 in 2019. I didn't really have a course that I wanted to do in campus. And I always say there's no need to waste time in campus, yet you don't have a passion in the course that you are doing. So fast forward to 2021, because, well, 2020 was about curfew. And kwanza ilinishika nikiwa shags. Gosh, COVID. The people who experienced lockdown and you were in another town, it's crazy. In 2021, I did my driving school, got my driver's license, then nikafanya computer like any other Kenyan, mwenye amemaliza Form 4, anafanyanga. Yeah, so in Kenya, this is the culture. Once you finish your fourth form, parents don't believe in kids just chilling and TikToking. So for every Kenyan household, once you finish your fourth year, you're taking to driving school, you get a driver's license, you go to an IT school, you get your computer packages. Those two you must do. It's a culture, it's law. It's unwritten, but it's law. So she did that. Anyway, later on in the year, nilikuja kupata interest ya magari. So I went and did plant operation course. It involves operating the big machines like excavators, graders, etc. I can almost bet this person is from Eldoret, but anyway. I even went and did my attachment at a county government level, but sasa election ilisimamisha everything, so I just went back home where I am still living even now. So last year after election, I got a job at a call center, and let me tell you, Maina, those two. Call center. Let me tell you, Maina, it's draining emotionally, physically, and even mentally. I won't mention where, but I'm pretty sure it's known because ilikuwa in a trend Twitter too juicy. 8 months later, I'm still there. I'm always thinking of moving out to my place, but it's like I'm scared. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm still working at a call center while I'm searching for plant operation job, especially kwa gava. There you go. There's a beautiful girl here who can do plant operation. She likes the big machines. Oh, that's nice. That's cool. I grew up in a town where tractors were very common. Like, tractors are driven like normal cars because people are just farmers there. So yeah, you want to go back into that, and you feel like the government is the one that has these opportunities, have the best opportunities in this particular plant operation space. And I'm really hoping for the best for you. You are 21, but I feel like you're reasoning like a 30-year-old. Because in my 30s is when I was like, I talk about my 30s as if I've been here for a while. In my later 20s is when I was just like, did I need to go for a degree? Was I sure that's the degree I wanted to do? Anyway, I didn't. And I'm glad that you're asking this question. You're asking yourself these questions. I'm glad that you actually found an interest and then pursued a course in line with that interest. I think it's out of this world. It's very smart. About the call center you're working at now. Call center is like sales. And I don't mean the kind of sales where you do at corporate level sales. I mean sales when you're the one handing out pamphlets on the streets. It's usually so toxic. There's usually like levels of bureaucracy. And by the time the money gets to you, it's shit money, the supervisors plus everyone else. The call center is also just not a really good place, generally. And usually it's advisable that if you work at a call center, you don't work there for years. Actually, it should be a stepping stone. Like, call centers should be a place where you finished your fourth form, go there, work for a while, and then leave. It shouldn't be a place you work for so long. I think it will affect your mental and physical in some way. So call centers are not places to stay. And also they're just managed like the job itself. It's a very toxic place to work. So much is demanded of you. You're working with humans the whole day, humans who can be very inconsiderate. Quality control is a menace at call centers. Man, I understand what you're going through. I hope things come through for you. I really, really hope that you get the job that you're looking for. Another letter that I got says, Hey Olive, I am in love with your content a lot. Thanks for what you do. I think I'll post a screenshot of this on YouTube while I'm reading it. This email is the one email where it's been punctuated so much with emojis. I was just like, this is the happiest email I have ever seen. But when I'm reading through, the story is so sad. I'm like, is your coping mechanism humor? Because why are you laughing and telling a sad story? But anyway, so into my job experience, sadly, I have only been in corporate. I've only been in corporate for 3 months during my attachment period. Sad, right? I know. I don't think that's sad. You don't need to be in corporate to consider yourself to have had experience of any sort. Anyway, this experience would be more of business than being employed. Corporately, I hope it counts. I didn't want corporate stories. I just wanted stories about careers and jobs that you've done. So you are well, fine. You're okay. Okay. And thank you for sharing. So you say, I am still young, recently finished campus, a diploma. I've sent my resume to many corporates. I did IT. So since I couldn't find a job, my mom and I brainstormed since everything went south. We couldn't find jobs, connections zikaungua zote, and learned how relatives make empty promises. When relatives tell you to send their CV, they'll see what to do. They will not see. In fact, they are blind. Anyway, back to the story. So I started a business with the help of my mom around my campus environs. Teamed up with another student and got the business going for a while. It was supposed to be a partnership, but that was not the case. This business partner would do rational things. I guess irrational is what you meant. Would do irrational things. The business was a PS shop. So that's PlayStation. So he'd wake up and decide, today I want to get another screen and PS. He'd go to town, get them and put them up without my consent. Again, it was a partnership. So that was last year, September, December. You know the campus routine. This year he brought his brother. Oh my God. Jumping from the fire to the frying pan. Jumping from the frying pan to the fire. It's been such a while since I had that quote. So by the end of the year, we'd share what we get by a third. He gets the rest because he had 2 screens and PlayStations. So after he brought his brother, we'd also pay him because I couldn't stay at the shop for long since I decided to go back to school to chase this degree. Mtu wa kushikilia biz, that means someone who's just standing in for you in the business. But it also came at a cost. We'd now split what we got 4 times. His brother and I would split quarter. He'd get the rest. Half of the earnings. What the hell? So your mom gets a quarter, you and his brother split a quarter and he takes half. Whew, okay. I got to a point where I could make 50 bob in 4 days. Let me tell you, 50 bob is like 50 cents. I don't know, in dollars. In 4 days. 4. Okay. If I got to the point 4 days, I never had access to the account to check on the cash flow. And PS is such a booming business. Anyway, whenever I brought up the issue, he'd immediately put it down and start behaving weirdly. And I never got access to the account. I couldn't take it anymore because the business couldn't sustain itself and I was tired of working with them. Here I am, freelancing, hustling random gigs. I hope you won't charge me for advertising myself. Oh, that was a direct translation from Kiswahili. Kuji, Anika, Kuji, market. Yeah, you're marketing yourself, yeah? I hope you won't charge me for advertising myself here. Where's the number? Again, send monies. You and the person seeking therapies. I am open for employment. I am willing to start as a volunteer. I can send my resume anytime. I'd really appreciate if you'd help me out. To you and anyone out here who'd help. Thank you. Sending out loads of love and hugs. Have a great week. Have a lovely week yourself. And I don't know if someone thinks you're good for the opportunity. I guess If they reach out to me, I'll just link you up with them. But I do not want to put out actual job advertisements here or job seeking advertisements, because then it will just turn the platform into that, while we are here for a good space where we are just sharing our normal life, daily life experiences. So if any opportunities come by that relate to you specifically, I'll basically link you up with that person. But for you, it's a partnership gone sour. And I've always been, and this comes in the wake of the break, not the break. Is it a break or the end of Over 25? The vlog that used to run on YouTube that was beautiful, the 4 girls. And I was just like, I've always been so scared of partnerships because I don't know how when we start developing different interests, I don't know how I will deal with that. So I think for you, even at the time you were young, probably this is an experience that you've had that I think is good because you've experienced it while you're young. So later on in the future, maybe if you'll be keen with things like split sheets, you'll be keen with things like contracts, MOUs, so that you're just in the clear in case you start a business with someone. So I'm really wishing you all the best as you continue to pursue what you want. Your friend is not a good person. But there are people like that. They do exist. And I just wish you all the very best. The last one. This letter, it was a long one. And I'm finishing with it. But there's still my experience. So don't worry. It's not finishing that fast. So she says she wanted to be called Aurora. So let's go with Aurora's letter. Where do I begin on this topic? Olive? First, let me appreciate your content. I'm loving each episode and content I can relate. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much gratitude I have for all the support that I get from you. I am so grateful. Thank you. Hey, call me Aurora, because for the life of me, I can't get this name right. I think it's Aurora. It's Aurora. If anyone else thinks it's pronounced differently, please just let me know. But anyway, Aurora says, now, where do I begin? Let me take it back to 2019. Was broke, jobless, fresh graduate, and in Nairobi. What can I say? Life ilikuwa inanichapa proper, so I get employed to this transport company, and you know how much they were paying. Let me tell you, Maina, 13K, 13,000 in this Nairobi, and you work like 16 hours a day and 7 days a week. So you have no weekends. The environment was extremely harsh considering I'm a lady and a graduate. At this stage, they see you as a show off, and even the chance to get, and even every chance, and use every chance to remind you ulisoma na bado uko nao ukiandika mizigo. Okay, so I've fumbled through that statement because my Kiswahili is not very good. But anyway, I fumbled through that statement but basically what she's saying, for her, it's also difficult working in this like transport industry? Yes. In this transport company, because it's a hands-on hard job, and she gets teased a lot that, see, you have a degree, you've gone to school, you're educated, but see, you're here with us doing the same job as us. So it's a very toxic environment she's working in generally. The environment was extremely harsh considering I'm a lady, the way I lost the entire Kiswahili. To top it up, I'm working with bosses that take everything from you. But the only silver lining is that in this story is that during the pandemic, we were still on, and so I was able to pay my bills. Okay. So fast forward to 2021, I wake up, I remember vividly, 19th of October, and I literally couldn't get off my bed. My legs could not move. The environment had become too toxic that it was taking a toll on me, on my health, even physically. I ask for sick day and I'm told if I don't show up, I do not have a job. I'm telling you, I had reached kwa kona and my body was not having it. Mimi ni nani? I said, kama mbaya. I slept in. And for a very long time, something I was carrying was lifted off. Sikuwa na pressure and I never went back. I was done. By the time everyone I know is freaking out juu wanauliza, do you realize you have bills na huna mzazi utarudi kwake? What if it doesn't work out? Go beg them, say sorry. Mimi ni nani? But they didn't understand my pain and where I was mentally. Luckily, come November, since I am one person who believes in giving your best to everything you do, I get another offer. Guess what? The salary is beyond what I even expected. And as I get in, I have one of those good bosses. Most people actually thought I was quitting. I had these other jobs in line. Where and when? It was just luck. Now let me go to my current dilemma. I'm 1.5 years in this job. Point to note, I'm not those corporate girls. I love my sweatpants and rubber shoes with too much passion to be in an extreme corporate setting and crazy working hours from early mornings to late night, which works perfectly for me. Now, this is where I am stuck. I have been the best performing person in my department for the whole of that year. For the whole of that year, I have been with them and brought in good business. During the same period, hiring internally and helped me grow with them. Instead, they always pass me up. Oh, wait, I've skipped something. Now, this is where I am stuck. I have been the best performing person. Gosh, the font is so small. I've been the best performing person in my department for the whole of that year. I have been with them and brought in good business. During the same period, they have changed my immediate manager twice, and it is happening again for the third time. All this time, I have been patient, hoping they see my growth and how much I put into it to consider hiring internally and help me grow with them. Instead, they always pass me up and bring someone new. Note, they are hiring for the third time. Now, this same manager, remember all this time, in periods when they don't have a manager, they consult me on all things concerning my field. So now I feel like I am in a place where there is never going to be any form of growth and I don't see a future, no matter how much I bring this to the table. No matter how much I bring to the table. As I write this today, the names of the shortlisted candidates are out and I feel completely unmotivated. So career-wise, I'm in a place where I don't know my next move or where I will be in the next few months. The fear in me to not becoming the best version is slowly crippling in, and this makes me afraid and believing I'm good and this makes me afraid and believing I'm good, and if I keep doing my best, I will become the best in my field. Yes, you will be. Thank you. This is where I end it now. It is a weekend, yet another time to try my poison. Yes, go try for poison because it's the only good thing in your life right now. They're employing managers for you. So let me start from the beginning. You worked at an extremely toxic place. It took a toll on you. Remember the person whose response I read, and they said they take work home, they work over the weekends. I told you, a burnout is at the corner. It is peeping like this. Is looking at you, is wondering, look at this one. A burnout is at the corner. And there's someone who was also debating whether they should quit their job or not. And I told them, the day your heart will refuse to enter that place of work, you will not enter that place of work. I've had multiple situations where I woke up and I could not for the life of me take myself to that place of work. I could not, my legs could not move. I was just like, and at that point, I was just like, come what may. If they want to sue, they can sue. I don't care. So I feel like that's where you got to a burnout point. And on that day, your none of your allies could let you go to work. And everyone around you, because I think I also had that. Everyone around me kept telling me, oh, how dare you quit a job in such a good company? You know, the chances of growing in such a company is really good. How dare you quit a job and other people are looking for jobs? So what you're saying is I die in this job just because there's someone else who's looking for that opportunity. I should die here where they're treating people like animals. I don't know. So people are usually very closed-minded when it comes to looking at the bigger picture. When someone is taking a particular step in their lives, just be keen to let them be, because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know why they've quit and why they are here. But anyway, the next thing, you did get the next opportunity. I remember when I was a young child, my mom used to teach primary school, and she was so tired with that job, or rather the school she was in, and she quit without knowing where she's going. And I remember that time she told me a Bible verse. Today I don't know what the Bible verse is, but I remember what she said. She said, God will bless you where you are, and even where you go, he will still bless you. So that was the verse my mom took and decided, let me just quit. Wherever it will go, it will go. And for her, and in instances where you decide to let go, better opportunities usually come. Because even for her, she got a way better opportunity after that. It might take a while, because I know even me, when I quit my job, it took a few months before I got the next good. In fact, it took years. What? Yeah, it took years before I got the next good thing. And at the end of the day, we don't know that this is for certain where I want to be and this is what I should be doing. All we do in life is take huge leaps of faith. That's all we do in life. And so you also got this job. Now you're in the corporate industry. You're lucky. You're happy. This is a better opportunity than the one you had before. But then now you started dealing with the corporates. You've understood how it now works here. So I will tell you this for a fact. There will be no room for growth for you at this point. They will keep hiring managers. In some instances, they will even hire a manager for you to train them so that you can report to them. The corporate industry is a bitch. So you can strategize and see if you want to make an exit plan. But basically, that's what corporate is. You could grow. You could actually get into corporate and grow, and get to a certain point and just be stunted. Now there's no moving, and you realize things around you are moving. And what happens, I think in most cases, because I've worked in multiple corporate places, and what happens is that sometimes the company does not want to have an indispensable person. So they want to keep reminding you that you can't be put in a position of power, because then you'll hold too much stake for the company. So you stay at a level where you just keep giving. And there's something you've mentioned. You're the kind of person who gives, and you do your best when you're given an opportunity. That attitude is beautiful, but it will never get you anywhere in the corporate industry. If you want to survive in the corporate industry, you'll have to be a monster. You'll have to be a beast. You will have to do things that go against ethical practices. So if you think that actual diligent work pays in corporate, you are very wrong. It's not rewarding at all. That is rewarded, I don't know, somewhere else, probably in the creative space. But even in the creative space, we are seeing the most. We are being done for things. So if you think that your hard work will actually pay in corporate, no, it does not. As I told you, the corporate setting is set up in a capitalist system that is very exploitative of people who are willing to work. So the most successful people in corporate are the people who don't work as much. They just know how to network. and they know how to run their mouths most of the time. And basically they have a way of showing they look busy, but in real sense, there's other people doing the job and basically covering for them throughout. So diligent working in corporate doesn't always guarantee that you will be rewarded for it. So at this point, I don't want to say it as a matter of factly, but from my experience, there's nowhere else you're going. You'll just stay there and you'll train all the managers that come and go. So I am happy for you. I'm happy for the one step you took towards another good job, but everything comes to a point where you have to re-strategize again. And I'm sorry you're at that point because it is so frustrating. It is super frustrating. I am telling you, and I understand. Okay, so finally, let's get to my story. I thought this would be a short episode. Why are we like this these days? Must we do 1 hour? Anyway, for me, I'm going to do first my history of places I've worked so that we understand where I am. I don't know what my neighbor is doing upstairs neighbors. What is happening? Anyway, so that you understand where I am and how I got here, because a lot of people tend to ask me questions and I don't know what to tell them. Because a lot of times, anyway, I'll start by saying, I wanted to be a writer as a child. No, leave the other one after we read Ben Carson, Gifted Hands, and all of us wanted to be a doctor. After that, after now our head has started being straight, I remember thinking, can I make money off writing? I'd always want to be a writer. I don't know. I didn't have a structured way of what sort of writing I'll be doing, but I was just like, it would be very interesting for me to be a writer. But I didn't know what sort of writing, but I wanted it to be creative and poetic and lovely and creative writing. But I didn't know what it would look like. But I'm happy to say that I'm actually a writer. And the bulk of the jobs that I've actually done all through my life have been basically writing jobs in different ways. So that's what I'll go through. The other experience that I've had is my CV was such a struggle for me to put together. Because, guys, I have worked everywhere and anyway, I have done all sorts of jobs. Ask me what I cannot do. That's the shorter list. If you ask me, Olive, what can you do? How much time do you have? Because we are here to stay. So my CV was such a struggle for a very long time. And I'm the kind of person who didn't stay at one employer. So a lot of times I was told, your CV is not beautiful to employers because it shows lack of commitment. There's no place where you've stayed long enough. And I was just struggling. I was just like, now that the Gen Z are in the workspace, I realized I was a Gen Z before Gen Zs arrived. I was out here being like, it doesn't serve me, I'm out. It doesn't serve me, I'm out. I thought this would serve me. It's not serving me, I'm out. So that's the kind of life I lived. So I had multiple short experiences. And I think the way my brain works, I have very high retention and I learn very fast. So a job is exciting when I'm starting it because I don't know anything about it. So then I'm learning. But then I learn the job very fast and I'm very diligent and very competent and smart. I get to do the job extremely well. And with time, it becomes routine. And once it becomes routine, I start to get bored. This job needs to evolve. I start to get bored. I need a new challenge. I need something to challenge me. So once I get to that point where I feel like I can do my job, you can wake me up in the middle of the night and I'll do my job without blinking. It's at that point that I feel like, I think I need to go. I think I need to move, right? And there's also other aspects. There's usually disrespect. There's usually toxicity in the workplace. There's other things that contribute to me leaving. But how I started working, I've always been the kind of person who cannot just sit still. I'm very fidgety, so I have to find something to do. I can't just sit and sleep. I can't do that. I I have to keep my mind engaged throughout. So I always looked for jobs for that reason. I was willing to intern. I was willing to volunteer because I just do not like to sit. So I started looking for jobs for that reason and also just to see if I can get money. That was as I said, from the time I was in class 7, I wanted to move out of my parents. So I knew from the time I was preteen that I wanted to one day afford living by myself. So everything I did was to keep my mind busy and also to see if I can get money from it. So I'll take you through my work experiences. And funny thing, up until now, all those places I've worked, I have never veered off what I studied for. And I didn't veer off from being a writer, which I wanted to be from a child. And all of it is by chance. None of it was planned by me. Anyways, at the age of 13, I wrote all of this down. I don't know how long we have, but this is me in summary. At the age of 13, I worked at my dad's office. I was teaching basic computer packages. So I would stay late in the evening and learn new things about MS Word, about Excel. And then the students would register and come in the morning and I'd teach them what I learned last night. Hey, anyway, yeah. So at the age of 13, I was teaching and I was also doing photocopy and my dad's. So that was like my dad's retirement investment. He was running photocopying in Eldoret. He was running photocopy and printing. He had a photocopy and printing machine, and we shared at KVDA Plaza. We shared the same floor with a very huge law firm. So those law firm would bring all their the law firm people would bring all their printing and photocopying to us and typesetting and all that. So I did that at the age of 13. And then there was a time also, that class 8 period where you've not joined high school or rather high school holidays. I worked at, what is it called? At cyber cafes. It was 3K. I was paid 3K per month. So I worked at cyber cafes, but I see at the time, I was just seeing where I need to be busy. But right now I see how far ahead I am in terms of my knowledge of tech and my acceptance of new things in technology because of how early I was exposed to, say, computers, let me say. So at the time I didn't realize, but now I realize that that's what makes me very sharp right now when it comes to tech. Because things like Excel, I didn't even specialize in that, but I enjoyed Excel. I just like literally maneuver Excel quite easily. So that was one thing. In high school, I told you I always wanted to be a writer. In high school, I wrote poems. I wrote songs that were performed. This I even did in primary school a bit. Yeah, I wrote poems, songs. And here is where, this is where now the famous me became famous. Writing letters for people's boyfriends. Let me tell you, I wrote all those letters you thought were coming from your girlfriends with such beautiful, beautiful creativity. Well, it was Oliver Rowell. Anyway, I did that in high school. At the age of 18, I joined a singing competition. It was like TPF, but for gospel. So TPF, Idols, any of those that you can relate to. So I got into a music competition for singing. And let me tell you, I say this is very monumental in my life because at the age of 18, I got to see what the media entertainment industry looks like from the inside. And it really helped because then the urge to work in that industry was not as strong as I went through my life in my 20s because I had experienced the level of toxicity at the age of 18. I had seen it all and I was just like, it looks glamorous from the outside when people are seeing, hey, you're on TV, you're on radio, but the inside, So I learned that at the age of 18. So I think it was very monumental in teaching me that lesson that I'm currently even still using. In campus, I bounced between singing in choir, in a band, and hosting radio shows. So why you'd wonder why I'm mentioning these things is because they were very monumental in building my courage, my stage presence, my all those things. So things like projecting, those are the things that taught me public speaking, confidence, all that. It came from these things. You had to perform in a band, in a choir. I was also doing radio shows at the media, whatever, at our radio station in campus. So that also played towards like what I am today. Higher, that was campus. At the age of 20, I started a blog where I wrote poetry. It was a blog spot. I lost it. I don't know if I have the logins, but anyway, it really helped with just not losing my writing skill. At the age of 21, I worked at an NGO that specialized in reproductive health, and there I worked as a communications assistant. So there I volunteered because, again, I was sent for long holiday and I just do not like just sitting. No, I don't like just, so I had to be busy. Anyway, that was at the age of 21, still same age. A month later, when I was working at this NGO, I sent my application as I wanted to be a presenter to a new radio that had just come to Kisumu. That was Urban Radio. They decided to take me in as an intern instead of a presenter. I think I was there for 6 or 8 months. I don't remember. But my role grew very fast. I then grew to, do I remember? I think I wrote them down. Assistant content producer. That's the next thing I became. Then I became I started doing copywriting and voicing their classifieds. And then I became a presenter trainee. And then finally, when I decided to leave because they didn't pay any of my money to date. As an intern, I was supposed to be paid 10K. For the classifieds, I was supposed to be paid 5K for every classified. And as a presenter, I was supposed to get a salary that just never came. So, so I wasn't paid for the entire 8 months. I was young. I thought there's hope. They kept telling me, there's no money. You'll get your salary. You'll get your this month's salary with your next month's salary. And I just waited for months over until I was just like, okay, it doesn't look like there's any hope here. So I left as a presenter of the evening drive show, but I just never went back. They called me, I think, a year later or so to tell me that there's a position for a show. But I just remembered, I was just like, you hadn't paid me last time. I don't think I want to do. I'm not coming back. I don't think I'll come back, even if the opportunity looks really good. Anyway, that was just me. For attachment, I worked at Department of Film Services. That is a government, office. It's a government office. There we produced documentaries, but after my attachment, which was 3 months, the boss there really liked me. His name was Mr. Onyango. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. So to date, oh my god, I don't know what I will do with him. So after our attachment, he'd still call me back for gigs. Mark you, this process from the time I'm saying 18 after the competition up until now, we are still in campus. I'm still studying, by the way. I've not left campus. So he used to call me back for voice gigs. And he was so impressed with me and he never forgot me. And anytime I'd tell him, I'm applying for a job somewhere, he'd always send recommendations. I don't know what he saw in me, but he gave me so much confidence, and I'll always be grateful to Mr. Onyango from DFS. And then I applied for a Huawei sales job. So this was just before we graduated. I think it was our last semester. So when we closed for that last semester, I went, applied for this job. We were called to an interview in Nairobi. I got the sales job, a Huawei sales job. I was stationed at Safaricom. From the previous episode, you might have learned how I left Safaricom because it became very, very toxic. And funny enough, because by the time I was joining Safaricom, I had my degree already. I don't know what the arrangement is for people who are working in the Safaricom office, but there was also the idea of them teasing me with, oh, so you think because of your degree, you think you are better than us. And I'm just like, I'm working a sales job, guys. You're working at a better position than me. I'm here on subcontraction. Why are you feeling bad? Why are you mad? So there was also that aspect, which was very, very weird. But anyway, Safaricom Eldoret, stay with whatever it is you people were on. Anyway, I got that job there. I stayed probably 6-8 months. Again, I don't finish a year. I don't even stay as long as a pregnancy. I don't have the time. So I left that. At the age of 23, I moved to Nairobi. So while I was still working at the Safaricom, at the Huawei sales job, I went back and graduated and came back and still reported to that job. So then I quit that job, then moved to Nairobi at the age of 23. Through a friend's recommendation, I got a magazine that wanted someone to write articles for them. They paid me per word. So I would try my best to have 500 word articles, and that would basically cover my rent for a while. That was after nothing would come by. Anyway, while doing that writing job for the magazine, I also would design business cards for different people on CorelDRAW. Who remembers CorelDRAW? CorelDRAW 12. Can you imagine? Yeah. That was where I was designing business cards, and people would send me 200, 500 bob for designing. And apart from that, I remember there's also a time I wrote poems for a friend of mine who worked at Dadaab, told me the schools there, the kids want to present poems to the parents or whatever occasion it was. So I also wrote a few poems and sent them. And there I was also sent my 1,000 bob, or I don't know. It varied. It was basically more of a favor than it was a contractual thing. But that's the monies that got me by when I moved to Nairobi. So then I got hired at Samantha's Bridal a couple of months after I had moved to Nairobi as a social media and marketing. Let me tell you, when we get to talk about toxic work traits that you should watch out for, red flags when you get to toxic workplaces, we'll explore all of these. But at Samantha's Bridal, I worked for a whooping 10 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. And I was out. I will share that story later. I think people who've been in my life know the actual story, and I think I've shared it at random in podcasts or in social media posts, but I'll give you that story as it is in another episode where we are just talking about toxic workplaces. So then after Samantha's, I waited a few months again, just trying here, trying there, trying here, trying there. And then I got a job at Oppo as social media manager. At Oppo, it was also very toxic. So I stayed there for right about 6-8 months. Again, I don't remember how long, but I know it wasn't past 8 months. I also left. The next job I got was at Miniso as social media marketer again. Let me tell you, the things I have seen in this life in corporate. Anyway. So I worked at Miniso for, again, 6-8 months. Worked at Miniso again for 6-8 months. And then while I was working there, actually a month into starting at Miniso, the very first management was very toxic. So my boss, who was Chinese, because what were they called? All the senior positions have to be filled by the Chinese. So my boss, who was Chinese, the marketing manager, she was a lovely soul. Her name was Lexi. I've had beautiful immediate bosses. Guy. Anyway, so Lexi, my immediate boss, quit 1 month into it. And let me tell you how she quit. She called me while I was going in for a project. We were supposed to have a project that day. We were shooting something for marketing with an influencer. So on the night before, the day before, she texts and says, I'm going to China. I've left your gift with the DM, and tomorrow you'll meet the influencer and shoot whatever you're shooting, create a script, bye. She was so mad. I understood because she also just couldn't take it. It was so toxic. But then that is how I, by default, became the marketing manager for Miniso for 6-8 months. Yeah, that was just when it was beginning. And then after Miniso, while at Miniso, I tried applying for other jobs, and I applied for a job that I looked at the time and was literally my dream job. That was in 2019. I applied for what was my dream job. That was a music and entertainment writer for a music company. And I got that job. And let me tell you, I sat at the interview at the lounge with the people who also came for the interview. And they were out of this world. They were two other girls who were like dressed nicely. They smelled so good. They were so eloquent. I sort of looked them up on social media. They had influence. They were so, like, they were well put together. So I knew I didn't stand a chance. When I was called that I actually got the job, I was like, life is a serious joke. Life has a sense of humor. Life really does have a sense of humor. So then I reported to that job. That's the job that I currently still work in. So it's been 4 years. And let me tell you why it's been 4 years. Because I've never had a commitment. This is the only thing that I can say I have had the longest commitment with. Generally in my life, romance, family, nothing. This has been the longest commitment. But here it's because in those 4 years, I joined as a writer, an entertainment writer. Then my role immediately changed. My role soon grew to chief editor. So then we started expanding to other countries, and then it grew to senior editorial marketing. So then we went into discovering now editorial content for entertainment music in Africa generally. And then we went into now senior SEO marketing. That was now my next role. This one job we're talking about, by the way. This is this one place we're talking about. Senior marketing, SEO. And I just got thrown into SEO and I started learning. And that's what I've done with like all the other jobs I didn't know, and I just get there and I learn. But why this was very interesting to me is, as I have mentioned, I cannot be in a space where I get bored. So this job was perfect for me because my role kept changing probably every 6 months to 1 year, even less than a year. Your role has evolved to something. And I loved it because it was a startup. And so it was still the storming stage. Even the people who own this company also don't know what we are up to. So we are trying, we're experimenting, and that was very beautiful for me. So I grew and I would try new things. So it was very beautiful for me. So that was SEO manager until very recently. Now the role evolved into podcast manager because the content started to diversify. So you see, it's basically the one role, or basically being in one company, but with evolving roles. So that's where we are. And just when I thought, probably life is going to stabilize for me, what happens in 2021? I started to create lifestyle content. It blows up on TikTok. My podcast also, I started being consistent with it because there are people who are just like, where's your podcast? And I was like, oh, you actually noticed I post. I'm sorry. Let me put out an episode. So I think you people became my, what is it called? The people who keep you in check. You became my accountability partners. So now I know there has to be a podcast on Monday when you wake up. It does not come rain, come shine. I will go and see my family, but there has to be a podcast for you on Monday. So you have been very grounding for me. And what this journey made me realize is that I learned to move with the flow. I stopped thinking there's this plan, because for a very long time, I thought that I'm a very confused person. I thought I'd fail in life because I don't have the 5-year plan, the 10-year plan. And I realized it doesn't matter what sort of plans I make. Literally, there is no single year where I have done a job that I thought existed. I got into social media because I was like, I am a very creative writer and I am very witty. So I can do very nice captions. So that's how I got into social media. I don't know, since I'm crafty with my hands, it was very easy for me to design social media posts as well. That's how I just got into social media. After a while, when the manager quit and I had to manage marketing, I don't know, it was dropped on my hands. I had to do it. I had to interact with influencers. I had to I had to organize for opening of stores around malls in the city. And I did all of it. I did branding. I did communication. I even thought I do not have people skills, but I became friends with people who worked management at malls, people who wanted to partner with the brand. I was having business conversations. I was just like, Olive, how? So I've never thought a job existed in my line of work until it actually presented itself in front of me, and I took it and I aced it. So that has been me to date. And even when I thought probably I'll gain some stability here, TikTok blows up for me. So I'm like, wait, is this another avenue? Like, what is happening here? And then the podcast blows up. And then, I don't know. I'm just like, guys, I don't know. I don't know what is happening. But right now, I'm just easy. I'm going with the flow. I don't know where it will take me. I am scared half the time. I am so scared because I don't know. At the end of the day, I have to think of bills. At the end of the day, I'm thinking, yes, I love these things. It's exciting. I don't know where I'll be next year, but will I be able to afford my life? Will I be able to still pay my bills? What's the next step? How do I make sure that while I'm here, I make good financial choices? Like, I am scared all the damn time. But anyway, we move regardless. The other thing I have learned is that it's okay to change your jobs as often as possible. I remember in the beginning, I said, a lot of people told me, no one will take you seriously. You're changing jobs. You're a professional prostitute. Huh? By professional, I mean a prostitute who's changing professions. So I'm happy to see that we are now in a world that has normalized that you can work at a place for 2 weeks and find another opportunity and go to that place. You don't always have to, this idea of our parents of working in a place for 10 years for you to be taken seriously for another better position, that doesn't work. And for the last letter I actually read, Aurora's letter, you will actually realize that the only way to grow your salary in the current state of our corporate industry is to change your jobs as often as possible. If right now I want my salary to grow, I will have to go to another company. The chances of your salary growing in the company that you are asking your boss to grow your salary, probably it will be grown by 10%, 18%. You will never have a clear salary growth, or rather a clear role growth, if you don't move from company to company. So that's how it's evolved in the corporate space. Something else I realized is that I have no use for my degree. I have never had to basically use my degree anywhere. But what I realized is, because I tend to tell people, degrees are not important, but here's the thing. There's doors that I would not have walked into if I didn't have a degree, because there are people who are closed-minded and the only criteria they have to give someone a chance in the beginning is that you have a tertiary education. So I will tell you, that's where my degree helped. That's where I could just show I have a degree. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, when my dad was saying a degree is just a degree, so he knew that there are people who are just looking, oh, you went to university. Okay, fine, come in. So you will even find people who are very incompetent in particular spaces, but since they showed they had a degree, HR was like, "Aye, Bana, you come." See, that's the criteria. So the degree has helped me walk into doors where a degree was specifically needed for you to be even considered. But I wouldn't say it has, they even checked. I don't think they even checked what degree do you have, what are you using. Or in case I hadn't mentioned, I studied journalism. So yeah, I've not veered off, and I actually majored in print media. So I continued to write. So me majoring in print media taught me how to write as a journalist. So right now I'm a creative writer. I can write creative pieces. I can write poems. I can write, like a journalist column. all my experiences have diversified my writing in a certain way. Now I've learned SEO. Now I know how to optimize text. So basically everything in my life has revolved around writing. So it's weird. Sometimes I look back and I'm just like, will I be the person writing your lives? In a few years, I'll be the one who'll be like, now it's time for you to be born. It's time for you to die. Because I have written my whole life. Anyway, something else. I have discovered that a new skill and interest every year. And this dawned on me when now I started doing content on TikTok and doing my podcast. And I was just like, I had seen myself, but I had never seen myself like this. And I realized it does not matter how small it is. Every single year, I will realize I have a new skill. Not a new skill, probably it's always been there, I just never explored. I will realize a new skill and a new interest every single year. So sometimes I'm even scared. I'm just like, who knows? Maybe I'll wake up next year and I'm a professional car seller. I don't know. Like, I realize there's something I'm really good at every single year. There's always something that comes up and I'm just like, where did you even creep up from? So just learn. Something will always come up. It will not always be the same. That is if your life is similar to mine. And something else I also learned, I'm currently in the space where, as I've said, human needs are insatiable. The job I do right now, I love it with all my life. Of course, Mondays always has anxiety, but at the end of the day, I enjoy what I do. I love the people that I work with, but I feel like right now I have a very strong desire, very, very strong desire to make money off my art directly. Like, I know right now I have to serve in a certain role in a corporate space with the same skill, with the same voice, with the same writing skill, but I'd like that it make money for me directly. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'd want, like right now, I'm writing content in a blog for this company so that this company can make a revenue, right? But I would like for me, let's say it's writing, I would like to write something for this company that is, then the money is just paid to me directly. Like, I'm not serving a bigger vision for someone else. I don't know if that makes sense. But even me right now, I'm very confused. All I know is that I just want to be involved very creatively in my very creatively right now. And I enjoy these things. Right now, it's, I think, 6 p.m. The stuff I've not even done in the house, but I enjoy doing it. I know I must put out a podcast for you tomorrow, and I love doing it. And I don't know, those are the things I want to earn from now. Guys, I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't know. I said, life is just leaps of faith. I don't know if I will be at my place of work in a few months. I don't know if I'll still be here by the end of the year. I don't know if it will evolve to another role again after the 4 or 5 roles. I don't know. At the end of the day, we trust the process. We learn as we go. No one has the answers. You can get insights. You can make better life choices from how you've seen other people live their lives, but no one has the answer. With that said, that brings us to the end of another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. We are talking about our career and the spectrum of it all and how we got there. I hope this episode, just like every other episode before, you find familiarity here, you find a home, you find something that works for you. And remember that we have partnership opportunities on this podcast. You can have product placement on our YouTube channel. You can have product mention on all platforms. You can run an advertisement on all platforms, or you can actually sponsor an episode or a season. With that said, until next week, bye.